Hello, it is Dr. Chris Raquel. I am back again with a video for today. I hope you all are doing amazingly. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. You can also send me an email at askkrystalracquel@gmail.com if you have any questions that you would like to see me answer for you on YouTube, or if you even have a topic that you would like to see me do a video about. So I have a topic for today, and this topic, I felt like I wanted to discuss it. I had it as one of the topics that I was going to do written down for like the past month or so. I think I remember I did a video about desperation in dating, and someone suggested I do a particular topic, and then from the topic that they suggested, I thought of another topic. So today's topic is actually about women who are single mothers and desperate in the dating arena, the dating market. So it's so important now more than ever that ladies are very, very careful about how they're presenting themselves. And I'm not just talking about physically. I'm talking about when you have children and you're dating, you're single, it is so important for you to just be careful. You cannot be desperate. And I'll tell you the two main reasons that come to mind for why you can't be desperate in dating. First, this is not one of the two main reasons, but first of all, when you're desperate in dating, it is very obvious. So whether we have kids or no kids, a man can sense if you're desperate. Ladies can see when you're desperate. And what I mean by desperate is, think to yourself, right? Well, you can be desperate whether you have kids or not, right? But let's say you feel something in yourself, where you have kids now and you would like to have a life partner. And this applies, I'm talking about women who are single. I'm not talking about men who are single. That's a different case, and I don't think I have the knowledge to be able to speak to that. And especially when, ladies are going to be more vulnerable than a man, in terms of certain things that I'm going to discuss. So if you need to analyze yourself, right? If you have children and you're single, think to yourself, first, what are the reasons why you are looking for a mate? Do you just want to have a good relationship, or do you just want to have a life partner? Are you looking for a father figure for your kids? Are you looking for protection in some way in society? Think about the reasons why you are looking for a relationship. Now, when you're thinking about that, now think back to your relationships, right? So if you have multiple children and you weren't married before, and they're from different fathers, 2, 3, 1, it's kind of like, okay, yes, you can look at that relationship and see maybe what happened in that situation, but at the same time, just one relationship may not really be may not give you solid reasoning for why it didn't work out. But okay, let's say you have 2, 3 different relationships and they all didn't work out, and you ended up with a child, and for whatever reason the man is not really around, or maybe he is around. Before you start dating and going to another relationship, you're going to have to figure out what went wrong. You cannot just blame the other person for everything. You cannot say all those 3 relationships failed because of the other person. And even in situations where maybe, let's just say the man, for whatever reason, he came into your life, he wasn't a good fit, he didn't have a good background, or he, wasn't a good guy. Still, you're going to want to look at yourself to see how you can prevent that, you meeting one of those people again, especially if it's multiple, 2, 3, before you start dating, because that's saying that maybe you're not a good judge of character. And of course, I'm not somebody who's saying like, oh, you should have chose better, all those things, because a lot of that is for men to not be responsible or to try to do better, because if there's so many men that are just so horrible, how is that the woman's fault if that's if that's the only type of person that's around her, right? But my point is, you're gonna end up in the same situation, and when you have children, it's you can't put that at risk. So if all your situations are bad, if you see that you've had a lot of relationships and they ended poorly, you have a child or children now, so you cannot risk having a bad relationship and also having children, because based on your history, you see that the relationships haven't lasted. So you can't now try to go into something you haven't really analyzed what the issue was in this situation of relationship. And I'm not saying the issue was just, oh, everything was all those two guys' fault, right? Because even if it was their fault, you obviously, for whatever reason, you entered into that relationship. And so that tells you maybe moving forward, the next one may be the same situation if you don't maybe change the way you go about entering into relationships. So what I mean by that is, now you have children. You can't risk that. It's not good to have men in and out of a child's life. And let's say the guys are okay, it just doesn't work out. That is not a good mentality to put into your children's lives, whether it's sons or daughters, because that is going to influence them as they grow. Children are very vulnerable mentally, and they emulate what they see. A lot of times people say, well, people now, they're grown, they're adults, they should know what's right or wrong. That's true. However, it's way easier to be attracted to, or in terms of like an environment, or want to emulate a certain thing based on what you grew up seeing. And the first thing that comes to mind is Chris Brown. Not to say anything negative about him, because obviously I don't know him, you don't know him, but I believe his mother was abused. He witnessed her being abused growing up, and obviously he didn't stand for that, but he ended up then being doing the same to his, I think, multiple women, not just Rihanna, right? So and of course people can be redeemed and everything like that, and people can change. However, I just thought of him because it wasn't just one partner. Apparently the other young lady, Karuchi, also said that he did similar things to her, and I don't know if there's any more beyond that, but I'm just saying, right? So he may know what was right, he knew what was wrong, what he witnessed, but that somehow obviously affected him, because he realized, oh, okay, this happened to my mom, it was so wrong, it made me upset inside. But for whatever reason, now he was trying to, but I don't know, he could have potentially, based on his mind, been trying to emulate what he was used to or what he saw. And sometimes, I believe, I don't know the terminology for it, but even like psychology, people sometimes want subconsciously to act out unresolved issues from their past. So things that weren't resolved from their childhood, they then may seek similar situations to attempt to resolve it in their adulthood. So that could be what's happening, but I'm not sure. So anyway, my point is, be very careful, ladies. You cannot be desperate. You're thinking about your children, because children's brains are so flexible and adaptable. So you want to make sure you're presenting positivity. And so there's no reason, if you haven't done anything, like you haven't maybe changed your process in terms of the relationships that you're entering, it's probably best for you to just not date for now. Take some time to yourself, focus on your children, and that's very important. And then I also just wanted to mention, like, there are people who are out here targeting young ladies. And I know we recently, some of you may have seen that video that's going around about that woman who ended up being in a relationship with that man who obviously is very devilish. I'm not going to go into it, but some of you may know what I'm talking about. But it's even for things beyond that. So if you're desperate in dating as a single woman, you are not really going to be able to see that some men may be looking to you as a woman who's easy, accessible. Some men may see you as a woman who, she has children, so that means she's sexually active. She was sexually active to have those children subconsciously, so there's no reason why she's not going to sleep with me quick. So ladies, a lot of times the men may be looking to you because they think that you're going to be easy. They are looking for someone who's going to be quick to give them sex, because they're thinking to themselves, okay, well, oh, this is another thing. Some men may think, oh, those other men, they never married her. She didn't require marriage for those people. And I'm specifically talking about women who weren't married when they had their kids, right? This is not, I'll get into maybe someone who's married, but specifically for ladies who weren't married when they had their children, you want to be on your guard. I really recommend you give your life completely to God, focus on your children, and make sure you're being careful with yourself. Become abstinent and really serve God. And if you're looking to date, if you want a relationship, if you feel comfortable based on the age of your children, and you don't plan on introducing random people to your children, then you're going to want to make sure that you want to make sure that you're abstinent and doing those things, because obviously that children do well with having a good father figure. So if you see that 3 of your children or 2 of your children may not have their father in their life, you don't want to continue to emulate that for more kids, because potentially you're probably going to have other children with your next relationship as well. And you really want to be mindful. Don't be desperate. Don't think, oh, I have kids, if you're dating, right? So I've said this before. I I commend those ladies who choose not to date when they have children and they're a single mother. I commend those ladies who are specifically saying, oh, I don't feel like I can be a great mom and be dating and getting to know people at the same time, or I'm just trying to protect my children. I just want to make sure that they're okay based on their age. I commend them. But for the ladies who are dating, recognize that there are a lot of men that are looking at you as an easy target. They see, okay, I can potentially, be with this woman, and she doesn't really have any standards. She has multiple children out of wedlock, so that is saying that she doesn't really have standards. So ladies, I'm not saying that means you have no standards. I'm saying that's how some men perceive it. And psychologically, they'll say, oh, well, that's fine. So I'm going to make her a girlfriend too, because these other men made her a girlfriend. So just be careful, be on the lookout. And I'm not saying you have to go into dating thinking like, oh, every man is horrible, because no, that is not the case at all. There are plenty of good men. However, you have to be realistic, because I guess just think of it this way. It's one thing if you're going to date a man who also has kids, right? But I'm saying, think to yourself, a young man who, depending on what your age is, a young man who sees you and you've told him right away you have kids, because I know there's some ladies who don't say that information just for safety purposes, but let's say you've revealed to him that you have children and he's all for that, he has no issue with that, and he is pursuing you specifically for dating and not talking about having a future with you. Be very careful, because they may see you as desperate. And there are some ladies I know who, because they have kids and because of what we see in society about what men are saying, like, oh, I don't want a lady who has kids out of wedlock, or who has a single mom, whether she was divorced or whatever. I'm not interested in that. Because of that, a lot of ladies have put that into their head and now think they're not worthy to have somebody who would love them and care for them, and that is not the case. I say make sure you are doing things responsibly and making sure you're setting a good example for your kids, whether it's through dating, your work, or how you treat people in life. But be really careful, because you don't want to get into a situation to where you're being used because of what you've absorbed about what people are saying about single mothers, like the red pill channels and things like that. Now you're acting in a way like, okay, I gotta do something, I gotta do extra stuff, because that's the only way a man is gonna stay with me. I have to make sure I sleep with him because of all these things, because men already don't think well of single mothers. No. And if that's the case, if that's how you're feeling, really assess yourself if that's how you're feeling, and then I highly recommend you do not date, because you're going to put yourself in a bad situation. And I'm saying don't date, because it's not just you who's put in a bad situation, it's also your children too, because they may be without a mother, because you're making yourself vulnerable to men. And of course, the desperation in dating, if you're a single woman, just be careful, because you don't want to be so desperate. You're just so desperate to like have a guy, or have a guy stay because maybe you need support or you need bills paid, that now you're like, you're not even looking at what type of guy that the man is, right? Or you're just looking for somebody who can, you can split your bills with, because you have 2-3 kids and it's difficult. The fathers may not be around, and you just really want somebody to just come sweep you off your feet and help you 50% of the bills, or whatever it is of the bills, right? Whatever contribution that you're looking for, that's all you need, because that's gonna help you be straight. It's, you're tired, you're stressed from having to pay all the bills, support the children, and the father's not around. Think about that. If that comes into your mind sometime, like, ooh, I just need some help. I wish I had a guy around because I just need some help with this bills. It's so hard. I'm struggling. It's not time for you to date, because you are going to be putting certain things ahead, potentially of someone's character, potentially about what will be the best fit based on your children's age and stuff like that. So just really be careful. I just wanted to really, I guess, just give a PSA for single mothers, and even some encouragement for single mothers that, hey, like, life is not just, I know society makes it seem like that, but life is really not just about, oh, you know, you finding somebody to be with, or you having children and all those things. And it's really about you being able to glorify God. And you know, even in your singleness, that can be a good thing. You'll be able to focus more on God, and if the time is right, you can certainly find someone that would care for you, and God will send the right person for you who you can build a life with. But if you're feeling that you're desperate in terms of you really need somebody to help you financially, or you really just want to be able to say that you have somebody, I would encourage you not to date, because there are men out there who are going to prey on you because they are looking for women who they perceive as easy. But yeah, I hope you all have a blessed day. Let me know what you think down below. Have a wonderful day. Bye.